All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the state in Nigeria. Well, they say when a nation is at crossroads, a lot seems to be at stake. Nigeria is at crossroads of either allowing the court to establish the integrity of its leader, forgo the disposition of an institution that may wreak political and legal havoc in our great country, Nigeria. And again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener and chief host of this platform, and my name still remains Kike Atanda-Owo. Yes, I know quite a number of people, I keep saying it, wants me to just adopt the name Abati. But guys, isn't individual identity also important? I still remain Mrs. Abasi. That doesn't change anything. All right, putting that aside, for those who are always on my matter regarding that, I think it's important for us to listen to what On This Day in History has for us. Stay with me, and when I return, the conversation will continue.
On this day in history, the 10th of October 2007, the Ken Saro-Wiwa Prize, named for the activist who worked for the environmental and human rights of Nigeria's Ogoni people, 2007 award for prose fiction, is given to Nigerian writer Jude Dibia for his novel Unbridled. Dibia tells the story of the emotional and spiritual triumph of a woman over a history of incest and abuse from men. Unbridled is a powerful and emotionally charged novel that tells the story of a woman's journey towards emotional and spiritual triumph. The protagonist of the novel, a woman, faces a challenging history of incest and abuse from men. The narrative explores the complex themes of trauma, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit in overcoming adversity. This award not only celebrated Jude Dibia's literary talent, but also acknowledged the importance of literature as a medium for addressing and shedding light on critical social issues, such as abuse and trauma, in the context of Nigerian society. Ken Saro-Wiwa's legacy as an advocate for justice and human rights was also reflected in the recognition of literature that delved into the human experience and the struggles faced by individuals in their pursuit of healing and liberation.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. I think my takeaway from On This Day initial segment is the fact that the Ken Saro-Wiwa Prize recognized Nigerian's writer, that's Jude Dibia, for his novel Uncontrolled highlights about the power of literature that was addressing the pressing social issues and, of course, the public narratives. And I feel that this is a lot to rectify in our society today, and it calls for everybody to use their own little office to change the narrative of our society today from the negative, and we don't want us to continue to have all sorts of negative, so that at least we can change the narrative for our unborn children. I think that's my takeaway from On This Day in History segment today. All right, guys, let's hear a quick message from my sponsors, those that put me on this platform. Let's hear what they have to say, and when I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Of course, the Chicago State University CSU registrar's disposition has raised some controversies as well as interesting points over the last 1 week in our country, Nigeria, when it comes to merit, and of course the conversation have come to fore. And during the event, Atiku's lawyer alleged that Bola Ahmed Tinubu had forged his certificate submitted to INEC for the 2023 polls, and he also pointed out, discrepancies in Tinubu's educational history, such as, graduation dates from a school before it was established. And of course, Kalu raised, identity theft concerns, as the document indicated a different owner, and of course, inconsistency in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's documentation. And on the live show today, I felt that it's important for us to deep further into the conversation on the ongoing controversy surrounding the certificate forgery allegations against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course the contentious issues, that has gathered, significant attention, has left the public with many unanswered, questions. And of course, we'll be exploring different aspect of this when it comes to the controversy, and further analyzing the implications of the ongoing controversy. And I think that it's important for us to quickly check the profile of my guests today. And when I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. This is Real Talk with Kike, and of course, let me use this opportunity to quickly usher in my guests. I have Mr. Tope Ajayi. He's the SSA to President on Media and Publicity. Many thanks for creating time to be on the platform today. And of course, I have Mr. Felix Morka, who is a friend of the house. Yes, and thank you so much for honoring my invite. He is the APC National Publicity Secretary. Are you both there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Fantastic. All right, let me come. Yeah, I can hear you both. Let me come to Mr. Tope Ajayi. Because you are the SSA to the president, and of course, a prominent member serving in the APC government, of course, alongside Mr. Morka as well. This issue and controversy of forged documents and CSU deposition, regarding all that is going on right now, has been ongoing for almost a week now. And the president seems rather unconcerned, Pardon my word, that's all that is coming to my head right now. I would like you to explain your own opinion or perspective regarding the body language of the president for not having to address such a matter with so much noise that is around his persona or his person right now.
Thank you very much. The president is focusing on the business of state, which Nigerians elected him for. So he's focused on solving our economic problem, dealing with our security problems, challenges, and business of governance generally. So I don't think it will be a waste of executive time for a president of Nigeria to be devoting his time to be dealing with non-issue. So like in your introduction, you talked about controversy. There is actually no controversy. except the one being generated or already generated by Alhaji Abubakar, the PDP presidential candidate. So President Tinubu was elected to serve Nigerians, to deal with issue of governance. He promised Nigerians a lot of things under his Renew Hope agenda. So that is what he's focused on. So he's not going to be wasting his time dealing with rumors, innuendos, character assassination, and joblessness that Atiku is focusing on.
Thanks for your submission right there. You know, you saying that it means nothing, but Nigerians have another perspective to the issue at hand, especially when it comes to, you know, certificates and documentation of what further explains his identity or who he is or what he has, what his educational qualification. But Mr. Morka, let me come to you, because in his statement, I mean, Atiku Abubakar has accused, or he accuses President Tinubu's aides like you and supporters of others, saying they're telling lies and confusing the public regarding the certificate forgery allegations. And I would like you to further throw light on what is going on right now. That is, how does these allegations and maybe counter allegations based on what Mr. Tokpe have said now, you know, regarding the impact of it in terms of public perception of our leaders at the global stage?
Thank you very much for having me. I agree entirely with Tokpe's assessment of the situation. This thing that you have termed a controversy is contrived, intentionally contrived to achieve this very outcome, to have Nigerians talking about something that shouldn't engage their attention. And that is all thanks to the former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now, otherwise, there's nothing. I mean, everything he said at the press statement, the entire press conference he had was without a purpose. There's no discernible objective reason why he called that press conference, except to throw mud and to make baseless allegations against the person of the President of the Federal Republic. Now, make no mistake, there is nothing that Atiku said in his claims before the Election Petition Tribunal, that's the Court of Appeal. There was nothing there that connected to the question of, you know, fraud or forgery by anyone. All he said was this man didn't go to CSU. That was his case before the tribunal, which the tribunal ruled upon and threw out as, you know, completely without basis. And then he goes further now to, you know, generate this forgery allegation. Look, we at the party, we're not concerned with that. Just like Mr. Tokpe said, the president is busy governing. That's his job. He was elected to do so, and that's what he's going to do. And we also have our own part to play. We will only respond because some Nigerians may want to hear the other side. Otherwise, this is not something that should concern anyone. And by the way, this matter is now actively before the Supreme Court. So we also need to be careful in the media how we engage these issues, because as you know, Atiku has filed documents before the Supreme Court raising this allegation. So this is a live question now that the Supreme Court has to rule upon. So I will also begin now to caution that, you know, after now, some of us are not going to be available to join issues with anyone on this question. I think the matter speaks for itself. The president is busy doing his job.
All right, many thanks for that elaborate submission right there. Let me come to you, Mr. Tokpe, because you earlier said that all of this was generated by Atiku. And when I started the show, I said Nigerians are at a crossroads. You know, many of us, or many of them, are seeing inconsistency, hence the reason why I'm using the word controversy or controversies. You know, for instance, the female identity in his certification or in his certificate, the admission date, the impersonalization allegations, so to speak. I stand to be corrected. When there are conflicting statements from both sides, you know, it makes it difficult for the public to discern the truth. So I'm coming to you now, Mr. Tokwe, to ask you, how can this confusion be cleared, you know, from the public domain and the global perception of Nigeria when it comes to our leader at the moment?
Again, like I said earlier, there is no confusion. I don't think we need to get sucked into this mindset or this view that there is a confusion anywhere. There is none. You are talking about female identity on a document.
Apologies, I have to interrupt. Apologies, I have to interrupt your line of thought. Apologies, I have to interrupt your line of thought. If you are saying that there's no confusion, maybe I should be asking INEC role. Now, INEC has the duty to make a public statement on the certificate presented to them and the one that was in the disposition by CSU. I mean CSU, yes, because the institution did not, the explicit, or how would I use the word now, regarding whether the certificate submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was forged. So the question now is the Nigerian public getting any statement from INEC anytime soon? Maybe people like you can further put clarity into that. Do you think INEC could be engaging the public and giving us more information or clarity on the certificate that was submitted then when they were campaigning?
Well, I don't work for INEC, so I cannot. I don't know what INEC will do next, but I don't think it's within the remit of INEC to get involved in a matter that has been instigated by Atiku. Like Mr. Morka said, this matter is before the Supreme Court. So Atiku cannot be a judge in his own case. So whatever he said he has discovered, let him take it to the court. And if the court admits it, then the court will decide on it. So try all this mudslinging and media trial, we achieve nothing for Atiku. And in any case, there is no issue of forgery anywhere. And there is nowhere the university, Chicago State University, in the deposition by the registrar, Mr. Caleb Westberg, said that the president forged his certificate. And you are talking about the certificate that the president submitted to INEC. The university was very unequivocal and very clear on the fact that they have third-party vendors that had been contracted by the university to issue a replacement for anyone that requires one, which was what happened in the case of the president. And in any case, we have said over and over again, certificate is not an evidence of graduation from school. It is not. It's just a ceremonial document for photo ops. The evidence of you having a degree is for you getting admission into a school, taking all your courses, and passing all your courses. And the university, upon completion of your courses, certify you that you have graduated with a class of whether first class, second class, or third class. And the only way that can be established is through your transcript, which is your academic record. So, like I said last week, elsewhere, how does a man forge a degree he earned in flying colors? Can anybody accuse you of forging your own degree if you have already graduated from university in Nigeria and perchance you lost your certificate or anything happened to your certificate and say University of Ibadan or Ife or Unilag or ABU, they have an agreement with a vendor that can issue you a replacement. On the basis of that, will anybody accuse you of forging your degree? It really doesn't make sense. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar just wants to pollute the atmosphere. Having lost an election, having been rejected by Nigerians over and over again, he went to court, and he went to the Court of Appeal, and the tribunal. He lost woefully. So he's just holding on to a straw. He has nothing tangible to hold on to. He went to America and came back with nothing. So the only thing he can do is to pollute the waters through funding a campaign of calumny and disinformation, hoping that this will stick on the president. Nigerians, there is no better evidence to prove the validation or validity of a degree than a university going on the position to say the man that attended and graduated from our school is the president of Nigeria.
All right. Apologies. I have to interrupt your line of thought again. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the controversy surrounding President Bola Ahmed Tinubu educational qualification, that was sparked by the Chicago State University, that's CSU, in terms of the disposition. And of course, the discussion centers on the inconsistency revealed by the CSU, and of course unanswered questions, and the role of media and the judiciary on the entire controversy. I like the fact that Mr. Tokpe Ajayi and Mr. Felix Morka have called on the attention of the media in terms of the narrative they should be tilting towards, knowing that the matter is in court. And of course, I have Mr. Tokpe Ajayi, who is the SSA to President of Media and Publicity, and of course Mr. Felix Morka, who is a friend of the house, that's the APC National Publicity Secretary. Many thanks for all your submission thus far, SARS, and of course for creating time to be on the lunch show with me today. And I think it's important for me to quickly use this opportunity to open the phone lines for those who are listening to us and watching us on Facebook and on YouTube. Remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77400, showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on both platforms that I just mentioned now, on YouTube and of course on Facebook, both on Silverbird platform and on Real Talk with Kike. Mr. Morka, let me come to you because I feel, I believe that the global perception is another issue. And in the international scene, they are beginning to doubt many Nigerians and the certificates that we produce. According to the Daily Mail in the UK, they're saying that more than 500 nurses and midwives from Nigerian working in the UK were on the warning list of possible fraudulent or incorrect results. How can we restore our global trust is what I'm asking in pain right now, especially from leadership position.
Thank you very much. Now, just to be clear, what's referenced, the event in the UK that you referenced, must not be associated with the president. I mean, there's no direct or remote connection between both conversations. Now, this is not the first time in the history of our country that schools abroad and employers abroad and people have questioned the presentation, documents presented by a Nigerian, so to speak. The same way they have also had reason to question presentations by other citizens, other nationals. So this is not exclusive to Nigeria. And in terms of presidential engagement on the international scene, now, please, again, I think we need to profile the way we understand conversations. To give you an example, when President Barack Obama, prior to his election and throughout his entire presidency, he was inundated with requests for him to unveil his academic credentials. He studied at Harvard and some other Ivy League schools. He was under constant pressure to do so, but he made every effort to block the unveiling of his documents, except that of those documents that he, by himself, was willing to share. President Donald Trump also fought hard to keep his record and even his own tactics away from the public. Up until today, as we're speaking, I'm not sure, despite multiple congressional hearings and resolutions and even court orders, the former President Donald Trump has yet to, present his taxes and his educational qualifications. You see, look, everything about Nigeria should not be amplified to this ridiculous level where we begin to suggest that because there's a controversy about the president's certificate, Atiku Abubakar has no right to the certificates or the transcripts of the president. He has no right to demand anyone's, qualifications. All that matters, this president submitted a document to INEC, and that document, the school that issued it has said it is valid. This was our graduate. I don't know which part of that deposition is, causing any of this level of inquiry, except for a man who, out of his desperation to be president, is willing to go to any extent to malign and destroy the good reputation of another human being. That is beyond the pale. So I think that, while we have these conversations, let's not make it out to be that there's something untoward happening with the presidency of Nigeria. Listen, other presidents, if there's any president around the world who's busy concerning himself or herself with the question that Atiku Abubakar has raised, then I must say that that president is idle and should be, dealt with by his own citizens. He should be busy governing his own country and engaging in quality diplomatic, relations with the president and the government of Nigeria. So I don't agree that there's any such concern. I don't share in that concern at all.
Thanks for your own insight to the question and, of course, to the issue at hand. But Mr. Tokwe, let me come to you, sir, because San Olisa Agbakoba, said that the interference of the law by armchair lawyers on the media is distorting the entire issues, and of course that they should lay the matter to rest. And with what Mr. Morka have shared thus far, I think that is tilting towards what he has said. But the judiciary who should also handle the entire matter to allow people disengage from social media court of law, or have not also been forthcoming with action. So I must ask you, sir, knowing that you are the SSA to the president on media and publicity, what do you say of all our judiciary because of this statement, and now we can, douse all of these controversies or all the issues at hand regarding our sitting president?
No, I like the way you framed the topic for this conversation. You said role of media and judiciary in all of this. One, the media has a responsibility to educate the public and to properly inform the public and guide the public to be able to separate fiction from fact. So it is the nature of opposition or somebody who has lost an election, who has lost over and over again, to want to do everything humanly possible to delegitimize, to distract a sitting government or a president. But the good thing is this president has refused to be distracted. So the media has a duty. Of course, the media is being bombarded every day by a lot of false information, half-truth, and all manner of misinformation. So it is the duty of the media as the gatekeeper to be able to separate the facts from the fiction and be able to present the truth to the public, not just a narrative of a man who is bitter that he lost an election and is ready to collapse the whole house just because he can't achieve his ambition of becoming Nigerian president.
Sir, I would like you to
then you're talking about the role of judiciary.
How do you assess the role
is to adjudicate on matters that are brought or that have been brought before them.
So,
and
sir, Mr. Tokwe,
Nigeria,
apologies. Can you hear me? Mr. Tokwe, can you hear me?
I think I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. You know, what you were saying earlier, I want you to further elaborate on how you think, you know, how do you assess the role of media in all of this, you know, in order for us to spin the controversies, in which direction do you think the media should be tilting towards?
I think what the media should do is to, one, like I said, properly inform Nigerians and make sure that false propaganda are not giving undue airtime. Then the media should not be used as agents of destabilization, because that is what Atiku Abubakar and PDP seek to do. They are inciting the public, and that is why every day they are doing everything to make sure that there is a social unrest. So the media should not give oxygen to all of those false narratives. The media should stick to the fact. And the fact in this instance is the fact that President Tinubu graduated with honors from Chicago State University. The fact remains that the university on deposition confirmed that the president of Nigeria is the same man that attended and graduated from the university. The fact is that the universities never said anywhere in the deposition that President Tinubu presented fake certificates to INEC. Those are the facts. And the fact also remains that the university has outsourced a service to a third-party vendor which can issue or replace lost certificate to whoever wants it. Those are the facts. So those are the things that the media must keep on letting Nigerians know. Not Atiku's fake news, not Atiku's distortions, not Atiku's manipulations. And another thing that Atiku is trying to do is to create credibility problem for the judiciary. Through his surrogate, they have been attacking the judges. They did that to the judges of appeal court who sat on the case at the tribunal. They are doing that again to the justices of Supreme Court. We must not allow a desperate politician, a desperate politician like Atiku Abubakar to disparage our judiciary or to bring our judiciary to disrepute. Nigeria has one of the most vibrant judiciary in the world. Our judges have given profound judgments on various matters that have been brought before them in the past. And they are going to do justice to this case. So Atiku cannot be a judge in his own case. He has taken the matter to the court. He should allow the court to do their job. He should not seek to intimidate the judiciary. And like the CJN said last week, that judges, Nigerian courts will determine cases on the basis of the law, not on the basis of public opinion. Atiku Abubakar is working hard to manipulate public opinion against the judiciary, to falsely accuse the judges of being compromised. But that is not the case. That is not the truth. So the judiciary has a duty to protect democracy and to deliver justice to all Nigerians, regardless of their status. And I think the judiciary has been able to live up to that expectation.
Thanks again for your elaborate submission. Mr. Felix Morka, let me come to you, sir, because 107 former senators of the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, APC, you know, spoke as APC non-serving senator group that have thrown their weight behind the president, that said that there was no need for them to uphold the dignity and caution in terms of, you know, the challenges that they are facing at the moment. And I'm asking if this was a matter that was that would have been flipped to the other side of the coin if the APC was to let go of a PDP presidential election in such controversy. What's your take on this thus far? Do you think that the weight that the sitting president has now, if the the coin was flipped, do you think that the way you all are going about it, or the way his people, so to speak, I stand to be corrected, are going about it, is how it will be taken? What's your take on this?
Sorry, I'm having difficulty here. I think there's some.
All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
All right, I was talking about the 107 former senators that threw their weight behind the sitting president at the moment, and I was asking, if the coin was flipped, do you think that the same weight would have been thrown in terms of people just embracing the fact that the PDP president is there? But that's another side. I think another question that is coming to me right now, which will be your last question before we move on to the last segment of this of the show, is that for the sake of governance and economic development and the need to address more of these pressing issues at hand, what will be your statement to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar if the obedience and the likes and at a PDP party was the one going through these issues at the moment? What's your advice for them?
Look, the senators who came out to declare their position in support of the president, I think they did what, I think every reasonable person will do in the circumstance. I think that, if you really take a hard look at this discussion, you find that there's no reason, no basis to not side with the president unless and until the courts say otherwise. Now, just this afternoon, I read a piece by Dele Momodu where he was trying to explain how come Atiku Abubakar on his school senior school certificate has Sadiq Abubakar, instead of Atiku Abubakar. That's Dele Momodu, who apparently now appears to become or has become a spokesman for Atiku Abubakar. So the man who is throwing all this mud, who is making all of this allegation on his own high school certificate, he has Sadiq. I have never known Atiku Abubakar to be known as Sadiq. Now he's trying to explain that, and he's going to explain and get tired of explaining, because that's exactly what he's doing to the president. You see, these things happen. Clerical errors can happen. Anything can happen. I have experienced it with my NIN. I've explained it, as I said elsewhere. My first NIN had Felix C. C is my middle initial. But they put C and Felix together. So my Felix that should end with an X ended now with a C. When I tried to renew my passport, I was told to return to NIN to do a fresh one altogether, because my name is not Felix with a C at the end. And that was no fault of mine. The forms that I filled were clear. It was Felix, middle initial C, and then my last name. So, I don't know anyone who has not experienced this thing at one point or the other. But because we're in politics, and because this concerns the person of the president, the likes of Atiku and their agents will, of course, go to town and begin to, tell a lot of falsehood. But look, the point here is that this president has been elected. A challenge to his election was thrown out by a properly constituted court. They have a right to appeal. They have exercised that right to appeal. I think that Atiku Abubakar, and quite frankly, all of us now that this question has been submitted to the Supreme Court, I think that we must all now stand up and quit this analysis and allow the courts to do what they were constitutionally charged to do, and they will do a brilliant job. I'm sure at the end of the day we will all see the facts as clear as crystal, because there's nothing here that anyone will find that is untoward around the president's academic record.
All your submission thus far, to both of you, Mr. Tope Ajayi and of course Mr. Felix Morka, for creating time to throw light on the issues that affect us all. But before I let you go, there's the last segment of the show that I call Trending Story. This is a story that still affects us, and the first trending story that caught my attention is that of the Obasanjo that pays tribute to Ogunbanjo, that says that Nigeria loses, foremost corporate lawyer. And before I come to you, my guest, on your submission or your take on this loss, let me first of all commiserate with the family. What an illustrious man, if that's what to use right now to describe him. He reminds me of the doyen of accounting, which is Akitola Williams, that also died recently. And I remember, also giving my tribute on him. I just feel these great people, make me proud. However you want to, it makes a lot of us proud because it gives our country some sense of respect. These are true legacies, if you ask me, that is worth, engraving in our hearts. And of course, I want to also say that, may God continue to be with his family. And of course, I think Christopher Ogunbanjo's success as a legal luminary and businessman emphasizes, on the hard work and the vision of great men like them, who I feel that young people today can learn from. They need to actually, learn that achieving greatness often requires dedication and effort and a clear vision for their careers and lives. So if you ask me, because I feel that the youth of today, they're, to use the street word that they use, they want to blow. I'm always very particular about the youth when it comes to the stories that they want to tell about their careers, about their success. There's no shortcut to life. You have to be willing to pay the price and, see the benefit of your sweat afterwards, which is very sweet. So Ogunbanjo's role in supporting legal equity, especially when it comes to his participation in foreign firms, operating in Nigeria here in the 1960s, shows the significance, of promoting and supporting, local initiative in one's career and businesses and the likes and all of that. So career practitioners like this can, or like us, let me put it like that, can learn, from his examples of contribution to the growth of these industries and, of course, the economics at large for SMEs like us. Yes. So faithfulness also is one thing I think I would like to also touch on. I think faithfulness to the law. Mr. Christopher Ogunbanjo's exemplary career as a lawyer also emphasizes on the importance of upholding the law and the legal ethics. So lawyers should strive to want to maintain integrity. They should also adhere to ethical principles, and of course provide honest and diligent, representation to their clients and of course to their own personal life as well. Because I always, continually talk about the power of character, which the late Dr. Miles Moore have written a book on. I've always emphasized on. So Ogunbanjo's reputation as is an outstanding, Nigerian corporate lawyer that serves as a reminder for us all, not only to the lawyers but to us all in terms of continually pursuing the excellence in anywhere we find ourselves, but especially to the lawyers when it comes to the legal practice, continuously learning, dedication to clients, and of course staying up to date with legal development, which I feel that some of the lawyers today, without not throwing anybody under the bus, do lack when it comes to the update of legal development and essential essence of successful legal career. That's my take on one of the topics on trending today. Let me come to you both, my wonderful guests. What's your submission on these trending stories that affect you and I?
Right. Okay. I think Chief Chris Ogunbanjo lived an extraordinary life. He was a legal icon, one of the early corporate or commercial lawyers in Nigeria. And reading through his profile, I saw that he actually pioneered, or he developed the framework for getting the CBN to approve what we now call DOM account in Nigeria. So he was actually the pioneer. He contributed significantly to the economic development of Nigeria through his investment in blue chip companies. He was a philanthropist, a community man, And he lived a good life, a life of service to his community, to the country, to legal profession. And I think he left a worthy legacy that, like you said, all of us and young people should emulate. People through the power of his example, he has shown, and God granted him very long, like almost 100. I think it will have been 100 in about 2 or 3 months from now. So he lived well. He worked hard. He attained success, and we have a lot to learn from people like that. That there is no shortcut to success, and through hard work, dedication, and commitment, we all can achieve our aim. I think that is the example that Chief Chris Ogunwajo left behind.
Thanks again for your submission. Mr. Felix, I don't know in 1 minute if you can give your own insight.
I agree with the submission that you gave, and that's which my dear friend has just given. The late legal icon was an institution unto himself. His life and his life's dedication to the field of law and legal practice, I think he's just second to none. He left behind a wealth of achievements, which will inspire lawyers today and in so many years to come. And like you said, our young people need to take cue from icons like this. That there's nothing a hard work and dedication cannot give. It gives the kind of success that is enduring, and I think that's why the late icon is celebrated the way he has been celebrated, and his celebration will go on into the years to come.
Your insight on that. We have the last trending story, which is the federal government is still paying subsidy on petroleum. And I think before I come to you guys again, I think this is where I can, at least as a chief host, as a journalist, I can actually give my opinion on issues like this. And my own submission on this is the fact that I feel government still pays, the fact that government still pays subsidy on the cost of crude oil initially got me surprised, because Nigerians have been persevering on the subsidy removal, and it would be wrong and unjust that Nigerians are just bearing the hardship of the subsidy removal on false claims, if you ask me, because the national president of Pegasin, Festus Osino, that has also given a brilliant analysis on this fuel price, dynamics from the global markets, into our local markets. And the matter is not far-fetched, in as much as we continue to import fuel, and we are faced with important fuel price inflation. The only way to stop is to address the exchange rates. We can't afford to allow exchange rates to dictate the suffering for us in our system. A stable or favorable exchange rate can help mitigate, the need for subsidies as it affects, the cost of importing petroleum products and all of that. So Nigerians' exchange rate policies and their effectiveness, are therefore crucial in this context. So the economic challenges facing Nigerians, which includes managing inflation, maintaining price stability, ensuring energy affordability for its citizens. So subsidies have been a contentious issue due to this fiscal burden on the government. And I believe that on this platform, Real Talk with Kike, I'm more passionate about the policies that will ease the conditions of the masses, and of course the ease of doing business, because I run a private organization, where ease of doing business is not easy. I must confess, apart from being a journalist, I know that there are many factors entangled in coming up with workable and actionable policies for Nigerians that should see the difference and see us on the path in making things easy and affordable for all. So it's just a painful thing for me when I saw this. So let me come to you both. First, let me start with Mr. Felix. Morka, what's your take on this trending story?
Now, I think the statement you referenced was credited to Pengasan. But yesterday, after the meeting between Mele Kyari, the CEO of the new NPC, he made clear that the government has not returned to the fuel subsidy regime. Now, this new story you're referring to, is coming from Pengasa. So there appears to be some conflict, some material conflict in both accounts. But I would rather go with the position of the head of the NMPC as the official position. Now, Pengasan will have to justify its position and its understanding that the government has returned, the subsidy regime into the economy. That's not what the NMPC chief executive is saying. So, in my own understanding, I would rather start with the position expressed by Mele Kyari to say that, the subsidy regime has not been reinstated, in our country.
Thanks for all your submission thus far to my wonderful guests for creating time to be on this platform, Real Talk with Kike. Unfortunately, I cannot take the opinion or the perspective of my guests regarding the second trending. But with this, we've come to the end of this interesting episode, courtesy my resourceful guest. Many thanks again for creating time to be on this note. This is where I draw the curtains of the show till I come your way on Thursday on this platform. Remember to catch me live on Inspiration FM tomorrow, 92.3 at 5 p.m. your drive time talk show on Real Talk with Kike. Bye now. Remain safe and be kind to one another.